You wanna do the intro with me? You wanna do the intro with me? Come on. No? Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, I'm Gabby, and today I'm going to share with you my book recommendations for, I would say summertime, but honestly, anytime, because reading is amazing. I'm a very big bookworm. I love reading. I think it's amazing, and I wanted to share with you kind of my favorite books that are more light reads, more, I would say, appropriate for summertime. But honestly, during summer I read a lot of thrillers as well, so you know. I'm going to start with the lighter storylines and go into more interesting, complicated, you know what I mean. I'm going to share with you today my favorite fiction books and memoirs. I'll do a part 2 for my favorite thrillers and mystery books because I have a lot of them, and I wanted to start on a lighter note, I would say. The first one, you probably have heard of it, The Flatshare by Beth. I love this book. I think it's absolutely perfect for a vacation or reading by the pool or really wanting to have a very restful time. It's so good. It has such a unique storyline. I had never read anything like it, so I'm gonna read you the back. Their friends think they're crazy, but it's the perfect solution. Liane occupies the one-bed flat while Tiff is at work in the day, and she has the run of the place the rest of the time. But with obsessive ex-boyfriends, wrongly imprisoned brothers, and of course, the fact that they still haven't met yet, it seems this Flatshare is more complicated than expected. The idea of a Flatshare, you know, I've heard of it. This version of a Flatshare, completely different, never heard of. I really love that you could explore both characters' like point of view, and they were very different. I loved the writing style. I loved Tiff's personality. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. I could not put it down. The next one I read quite a long time ago. It's What Alex Forgot from Liane Moriarty. I own all of her books except the last one, and I really love this one. The other ones are more like mysteries, not really thrillers, but there's secrets and stuff going on. This one is more of a regular life, I would say, but with a twist, and you really want to know what happens as well. So I'm gonna read you the back. Imagine forgetting the most important 10 years of your life. Alice wakes up on the floor of the gym with a nasty bump to her head, thinking she's still a fun-loving 29-year-old starting life with her gorgeous husband and pregnant with their first baby. To her disbelief, it soon transpires the fall has knocked 10 years from her memory, and she is actually an uptight 39-year-old whose idea of a good time is a 3-hour workout followed by committed meetings with the kind of women she used to despise. How on earth did her life come to this? And more disturbingly, how can she not remember giving birth to 3 children? Why does her husband suddenly hate her? And what can Alice possibly have done that means her beloved sister will barely speak to her? Seeing herself through fresh eyes, Alice barely recognizes or even likes the person she has become. Can she ever find her way back to the woman she used to be? First of all, that's actually quite scary, like forgetting 10 years of your life, the years where so much happened. You kind of start with a bang already with this one. I also really loved Alice's character. Hearing about her thought and her rediscovering her entire life was very interesting. It explores emotions and how your relationships change with years. It's kind of like pretty stressful, but also super interesting to follow her journey of just rediscovering who she has become. Okay, next one is actually a series, which I didn't know because I started reading like book 4, I think, which is, I didn't know. Okay, the series, you may have heard of it. Lindsey Kelk rings a bell. So here you got 2, 4, 6. You got 7 books. You know, that's pretty nice. It's a very light-hearted series. It's perfect for escapism because basically each book is set in a different city. You follow Angela's character as her life gets turned upside down, basically. I'm not gonna read you the back because I feel like it tells way too much of the story actually. So I wrote something instead. So you follow the story of Angela as her entire life is turned upside down during her best friend's wedding, where she discovers that her long-term, very long-term boyfriend has been cheating on her for a long time. Her best friend actually knew. So she jumps on a flight, destination New York, and you really have no idea what she's going to do. I really loved Angela's personality. She's very funny. You fall in love with her because she's not perfect at all. She's just a real life woman, you know, like she's totally normal. And it's basically about having to redirect your life at, I think she's 26, so she's basically my age. I just really loved her character. It's very funny, it's very lighthearted, like I said. It's just a very good book and series if you don't really want anything too serious. Hi, you okay? You want to cuddle? Next up is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's the author of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Malibu Rising. Because her name was like familiar to me, and then I was like, yeah, of course. I love this book so much. It's very light, but it deals with topics that make you see life choices very differently. So the story follows Hannah, who is 29. She's back to LA, her hometown, after moving quite a lot. And one night at her welcome back party, her life could go 2 different ways depending on the choice she makes. The story follows the 2 different versions of her life, how she goes about it, and her inner turmoil. It's super interesting because well, I mean, if you're like me, you always think about the fact that each decision that you make could set you in a different path in your life, and this actually takes it to a whole different idea of really your life could go in a very different way depending on what you choose. But it's also super interesting to see how she reacts to each event and how her life unfolds, and the similarities and the differences. I won't say more. You just have to read it. Honestly, it's just very interesting. Okay, we're getting into a little bit harder, well, actually this one quite harder. It's gonna be okay. Okay? You probably have heard of it either from the fact that it's a book or from the movie Me Before You. I would say, first of all, get your tissues out if you're planning on reading this book. If you're not feeling too good or emotionally stable, not ready for quite a storyline, I would say maybe wait a little bit to read this one because it's pretty sad. I'm gonna read you the back. Lou Clark knows lots of things. She knows how many footsteps there are between the bus stop and home. She knows she likes working in the buttered bun tea shop, and she knows she might not love her boyfriend Patrick. What Lou doesn't know is she's about to lose her job, or that knowing what's coming is what keeps her sane. Will Trainer knows his motorcycle accident took away his desire to live. He knows everything feels very small and rather joyless now, and he knows exactly how he's going to put a stop to that. What Will doesn't know is that Louis is about to burst into his world in a riot of color, and neither of them knows they're going to change the other for all time. It's a beautiful story. It's all about life and choices, and it's not always an easy read. I just fell in love with Lou's character, and which is also why I read both sequels. But oh my, like, it's quite a story. The book has been adapted into a movie with Emilia Clarke and Sam Claflin, which is very good, not a light story. The next one I do not have with me because I read this one a bit more recently, and after I finished it, I just wanted to keep it with me. Most of my books are here at my parents because I have so many, they just wouldn't fit in my apartment. But this one and another one I will mention, I keep at home because for some reason I need to have them at my place. It's Where the Crawdads Sang from Delia Owens. This is one of the books that I wish I could read again for the first time. It's just kind of one of those books that kind of change your life, which sounds dramatic, but hear me out. I'm going to read you the back cover. I have it on Goodreads. For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl haunted Berkeley Cove, a quiet fishing village. Kaya Clark is barefoot and wild, unfit for polite society. So in late 1969, when the popular Chase Andrews is found dead, locals immediately suspect her. But Kaya is not what they say. A born naturalist with just one day of school, she takes life lessons from the land, learning the real ways of the world from the dishonest signals of fireflies. But while she has the skills to live in solitude forever, the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. Drawn to 2 young men from town who are each intrigued with her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new and startling world until the unthinkable happens. It's very different from anything I'd read before. So I'm not gonna lie, I struggled for the first, I would say maybe 60, 70 pages, something like that. The writing is also different, you will see. And I was like, you know what? A lot of people are talking about this book, so I'm gonna keep on reading. Well, very soon I could not put that book down. It was all I could think about. I remember spending an entire Sunday reading. I just stopped to have lunch and dinner with my boyfriend and to shower, and that was it. I could not put it down. I think I read for hours, like maybe 8 hours that day. I just could not put it down. I adored Delia Owens' writing. It was like you could feel Kaya's emotions and her thoughts, but you could also see her from an outsider point of view. And it's like a book about so many things, so many heavy topics as well, like prejudice, loneliness, and love, and determination and survival. It's just one of those books that you have to read. Next one is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste. Very popular book. You've probably heard of these series as well, with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, which was very good. They had changed a few things from the book, but I mean, they're amazing actresses and the cast was really good overall. There's something about the book version, you know, and I had loved this one so much. I'm not gonna read you the back because it's very long. So the story is set in a very placid, rule-following, progressive suburb with 2 families. You have the Richardsons with Elena as the mother. She has on paper the perfect life, a big house, a husband, 4 children, and then on the other side you have Mia Warren and her daughter Pearl, who just get in town, and Elena rents one of their houses to the family. And soon her kids get to know Pearl and they invite her over, and soon the 2 families' lives gonna get crossed together. But you realize that with each family comes secrets, and Mia and Pearl came with theirs, and you follow the story as this very unusual mother-daughter pair kind of changes the Richardson family's life, and you uncover secrets, and you just want to know what happened, and you want to know like the family history and what's going on. And it's all about like secrets but also family. I just could not put it down. Next, we are going into the memoir category. We're going to start with a book I knew I would love because I was very drawn to the storyline. It's Educated by Tara Westover. The storyline is so unique. This book is all about Tara and her childhood. I'm gonna read it back because it's short and sweet. Born to survivalists in the mountains of Idaho, Tara Westover was 17 the first time she set foot in a classroom. Her family was so isolated from mainstream society that there was no one to ensure the children received an education, and no one to intervene when one of Tara's older brothers became violent. When another brother got himself into college, Tara decided to try a new kind of life. Her quest for knowledge transformed her, taking her over oceans and across continents to Harvard and to Cambridge University. Only then would she wonder if she'd traveled too far, if there was still a way home. So it's written in a way that the first part is about her memories from her childhood, and it really kind of helps you understand how she grew up, her family's dynamic, and her inner turmoil, I would say. And then the second part, you move on to her life after she starts to go to school and her education. But also, it's a very honest account of her life, so you really hear about everything. It's all about struggling to become who you are, and family loyalty and education, and how it can change you in a way. Another one I could not put down, honestly. It's very interesting to hear a very different way of living from what we're used to. The last one I don't have with me, again, that's the one that's at home, and it's Michelle Obama's Becoming. From the moment I heard she was writing a book, I knew I wanted to read it because it was going to be something pretty rich, and that was very true. So in that book, she recounts everything from her childhood, her education, her becoming who she is now, growing as a woman, growing as a mother, as then the first lady of America, who is a black woman and who has never thought that she would have such a position. It's very honest. It's so well written. It's very compelling because even though you know her story, you know her life, you don't know what happened behind the scenes, which is always what fascinates me. It's a pretty large book, but you cannot stop reading it. And so I highly recommend, if you have some time during the summer, to read it. I found it to be incredibly inspiring. There's also a documentary on Netflix, which was incredibly good as well. So highly recommend you read this one. Someone who's getting a bit fussy. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of those books or if you want to read them, and do give me recommendations. I'm always up for reading new books, and stay tuned for part 2. It should come in August, and I will let you know all of my favorite books, thrillers, mysteries, all of that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!